Yeah, it is Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you on a Monday after another Packers loss. This Open has become the same Open every Monday for the last 5 weeks. I'm very sick of this. I'm very, very sick of this. 24-10, Packers lose to the Vikings yesterday. Lots to get into from that. 24-10 also, Badgers fall to Ohio State. And we were just talking before the show, like the differences in 24-10 losses. Like Saturday, you actually feel pretty good about where the Badgers are at. You know, with a backup quarterback making a second career start, Braylon Allen goes out. You feel good about 24-10 in that scenario. Whereas the Packers lose 24-10 to a meh Minnesota Vikings team who's now 4-4, and you feel like crap. That's 4 in a row for the Packers, and this bad has become worse. Horrible has become worse. This is a horrible football team. Horrible right now. And I don't know that won't change, right? I still believe at some point maybe the Packers can find a groove offensively where they can score more than 10 points, where they can actually score a touchdown in the first half, which they haven't done since week 2. September 17th was the last time the Packers scored a touchdown in the first half. It's going to be November 5th the next time they play. We're going to go 2 full months without the Packers scoring a touchdown in the first half. It's just sad, really. It's pathetic. And some of it falls on Jordan Love. Some of it falls on Matt LaFleur. Some of it falls on Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers. There's plenty of blame to go around here. Plenty of blame to go around. But the Packers are now 2-5. They've lost 4 in a row, and none of them have been particularly pretty. They scored 13 against the lowly Raiders. They scored 17 against the horrible team that is the Denver Broncos. And they scored 10 last night against the Vikings. So, yeah, there's issues. Plenty of issues. Everything's bad, really bad. That's note number 1 here on Mr. Irrelevant. Let's talk about this offense. I mentioned it. September 17th, the last time a touchdown was scored in the first half by the Green Bay Packers. That's crazy in the NFL. Crazy. They've played 5 games since then, and they even won one of them. But they scored all 18 of those points in the fourth quarter in that win over the Saints. Loss to the Lions, Raiders, Broncos, and now the Vikings. I don't know what they can do. Jordan Love isn't good. I mean, we can start with that. Jordan Love is not good. He's fine. I don't think he's bad. I think he's fine. But I will not call him good. 24 of 41, 229, a touchdown, an interception that was only kind of his fault. It's just mediocre numbers. And they can't get anything going. And I think the most frustrating part to me of that football game yesterday was that they kept having opportunities in the fourth quarter in Vikings territory, and they couldn't do anything with it. You have 4th and 17, I think it was, 4th and 18. Jordan Love is trying to show he's got wheels, trying to prove that. Doesn't work. He falls a yard short. Aaron Jones, still probably not fully healthy, only touched the ball 11 times again yesterday. 7 carries for 29. Like, all of it, there's just no rhythm. There's no vibe to this offense. For a head coach that we've spent so much time saying, wow, he's such an offensive genius. He's so innovative on offense. I just haven't seen that the last 5 weeks. And it's really concerning when we spend all of the offseason excited about the fact we're finally going to see Matt LaFleur's true offense run by a quarterback who will run it the way it's meant to be run. And they can't score points. You need to score points in order to win football games, and the Packers are just incapable of that the last month and a half. 10 points against the Vikings yesterday, and they had plenty of opportunities. They were in Vikings territory multiple times where they come away with 0 points. That's unacceptable, and ultimately it leads to a 5th loss. Now, if you look down the schedule over the course of the next couple of weeks, I let off a couple weeks ago, prior to that Raiders game on Monday night. I said, yeah, there's some gimmies on this schedule still. This should be a playoff team. There's some gimmies here as long as they can turn it around. They lose to the Raiders, they lose to the Broncos, they lose to the Vikings. They play the Rams next week. Not a gimme anymore. They play the Panthers on Christmas Eve. That's not a gimme. And the Panthers are the worst team in football. This team's got to figure something out quickly in the final game of the season against the Bears. Also not a gimme, and we watched them get embarrassed on national TV last night. The matter of the fact is this could very easily be a 3-win football team, and they already have 2 of them. Could they find a way to rattle a few off at the end of the year when they play teams like the Giants and the Buccaneers and the Bears and the Panthers? Maybe. But I don't have faith. This is clearly not a good year. So what's best case scenario? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. What is best case scenario? I think best case scenario is this is a total disaster of a season for the Packers. I think they win one more game. They go 3-14. They have a top 5 pick. They draft a quarterback. But when you look at it that way, is Matt LaFleur out? Because if you're drafting a new quarterback that you want to be your guy, you probably want a new head coach who's going to work with that guy rather than Matt LaFleur, who might be on the hot seat at the end of the season. I think he's the coach next year either way. But best case scenario is Jordan Love isn't the guy you move off. And it's as quickly as that. But I don't know if it's that easy. Because I don't think Jordan Love's been as awful as maybe the box score indicates. I think he's been bad. I just don't think he's been awful. And I saw a montage on Twitter or X or whatever the hell we call it these days yesterday of all the drops. I think it was like 11 or 12 drops. And half of them were bad passes by Love. And two things can be true, right? It can be a bad pass, but it can also be dropped. There's just a lot of problems with this Packers offense. And Matt LaFleur, we thought, was the guy that'd be able to solve them. So I guess where I'm at right now is I'd be okay with being horrible for the next 2+ months and being in the sweepstakes for one of those great quarterbacks, whether it's probably not going to be Caleb Williams, but Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., maybe they're in the ballpark for him, one of those guys. And I think I'd be okay with that. I think. I don't know. Hunter Vaughn's the producer of the show. He's a Cowboys fan, but you watched the same football game I did. Where are you at? Like, I just think this team sucks.
Yeah, they're really bad. Like, I wish I had something more in depth to give.
I don't think we need to go in depth.
No, and
they're just bad.
Now, I did have a thought as you were talking about the draft because I love the NFL draft.
I do.
I think it would be hilarious if the Packers can somehow be bad enough to split those top 2 picks that the Bears potentially have.
So it goes like Panthers pick that goes to the Bears 1.
Yes.
Packers 2, Bears 3.
Yes. Just to force the Bears to either say, okay, we're either going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. 1, then the Packers get Caleb Williams, or you roll the dice on Caleb Williams, who I think a lot of people aren't fully sold on now, and then the Packers get
what's sad?
A generational
you know what's really
wide
sad?
receiver. What?
It's October 30th, and we're talking about the NFL draft.
I love
That's
it.
how bad this is.
Yeah.
That's how bad this is. It's October 30th. We're already thinking about the NFL draft. Quarterback watch. And I think we're in it. This sucks. I hate this. I'm what am I, 24? I had to think about that. All I know is Favre and Rodgers. This sucks.
Welcome to the rest of the NFL.
I hate this. All right, Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio is going to join us coming up next. And he's a Patriots fan. So I think he's kind of in a similar boat where, like, Mac Jones, I talked about it last week. I think he stinks too. He knows Tom Brady for the last 2 decades and Super Bowl championships, and now the Patriots and Packers both suck, so I do want to talk about that. We'll talk about the differences and the parallels of a 24-10 loss. We saw the Badgers lose to Ohio State on Saturday in a 24-10 loss that you feel good about, and then we watched the Packers fall 24-10 to the Vikings, which I feel horrible about. Evan Cohen joins us next. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Looking forward to this one with Evan Cohen, who joins us next on Mr. Irrelevant. Our conversation, as always, brought to you by my friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Whether it's that green bottle of gin, that blue bottle of vodka, the award-winning bourbon, the cherry brandy to elevate those cherry brandy old fashions, or anything you can think of under the sun, Door County Distillery does it better than anybody else. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com, to find the retailer nearest you, as well as a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. It's getting a little chilly, only 30 degrees out today. You got to warm it up with Door County Distillery. Check out that list of unique cocktail recipes. And again, the retailer nearest you at their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Time to chat with Evan Cohen. It's 33 degrees out. The Packers stink. I hope this cheers me up. I'm not super certain it will. Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio joins us now. What's up, Evco? How are you? Can Evco hear me? Hunter. Evan, going once, going twice, maybe not. Potentially. Evan, there we go. I got you now. Can you hear me? Good stuff. This is working. like I said, I thought this would cheer me up. Now I can't hear him, so maybe it'll cheer me up. Evan, you got me. No, okay, good. Hunter, you work on that. I'll continue to run through my horrible thoughts and depressing thoughts about the fact that it's 33 degrees outside and the Green Bay Packers stink. Evan, we will reconnect with you shortly. Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike, weekdays 6 to 10 Eastern, 5 to 9 Central on ESPN Radio will join us shortly as we work through some technical difficulties. I see Ryan Wollersheim in there now. This is terrific.
Here.
Evan's shaking his head. I think he can hear me now. Can he hear me now? Yeah, he's got me.
Yes.
I can't hear Evan, though. Hunter, what's going on back there? Evan, hello.
I hear you. You hear me?
Can hear me? I can't hear you. Terrific. All right, we've got 3 people, Evan. 3 people. I can see your facial expressions. We got 3 people back there working on this, and we can't figure it out. We can't figure it out. I can't hear you. Terrific. I wanted to talk to you about how depressed I am and how awful of a day this is because the Packers stink, the Patriots stink, the Badgers lose. Now I'm hearing double of me.
I hear you.
Oh, now I got you. We're good.
Okay. All right, then we're good.
We work through it. How are you, Evan? Your Patriots stink, my Packers stink.
Who cares about the Patriots? We're on in Wisconsin. What are you doing?
Well, your fandom, my fandom, we're used to championship expectations. We're both in the dumps. I feel like there's a parallel that we can draw there.
Yes, well, I would agree with you, except the fact is that my team had little to no expectations this year, and your team, because of the president, basically a declaration of a statement here that they have to be good by a certain date or else they don't have the quarterback, and we're closing in on that day, right? Week 9 or 10 or whatever it is, that Mark Murphy said that we better know about Jordan Love. The most ridiculous statement ever made by an executive in the history of an offseason. Like literally, Daryl Morey of the Rockets/Sixers has made less ridiculous statements than Mark Murphy made about knowing about Jordan Love. Because now, based on Mark, Packers don't have a quarterback, right? Like you have to declare it, make that declarative statement. They do not have a quarterback, based on his words.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I've been very open about my thoughts toward Mark Murphy, and he said many stupid things this offseason, whether it was in the middle of the Aaron Rodgers saga or if it was around Jordan Love and his expectations there. You're right. The timeline's up. I think he probably stinks. I think the box score isn't as indicative as maybe what my eyes have told me, but he's bad, and now we're actually at a point, which, again, I'm not used to whatsoever, of that the Packers could have a top 5 pick in the NFL draft and what we think is a stacked quarterback class. It's October 30th, and I'm thinking about the NFL draft, Evan. And like, what the hell's wrong with me right now? This is horrible.
When was the last time, Strouf, that this happened this way? We're probably 30 to 40 years, right?
Before my life. Right. It's never been done in my lifetime.
You are how old? How old?
I'm 24.
Jesus, you're young. I don't in my lifetime, and hasn't happened. Like this has not happened this way, where basically right now, before November, the Green Bay Packers are experiencing what the Bears have experienced a million times, the Lions have experienced a million times. The Vikings haven't experienced it that much. I feel like I don't remember like them experiencing it this way. But the Green Bay Packers are experiencing what probably the majority of the league at one point or another have experienced. And there are many, actually, I would say almost the entirety of your audience now probably has never experienced it this way, because those that have experienced it the other way, and even the non-Packers fan, like really old people, like let's just call them, I don't know, Jim Rutledge. So like theoretically, those people that are watching this right now have never experienced what you are going through and what they're going through, which is looking at mock drafts before November. They have never been to tankathon.com before November, and they are living in tankathon.
It's horrible. I hate it. And, you know, like I'd feel better maybe if the Badgers pulled off something crazy on Saturday. I'm probably leading with that. But it's the same score. So why is it that 24-10 against the Minnesota Vikings feels awful, but 24-10 against Ohio State actually made me feel pretty good about the Badgers and where they're headed, even though they're 5-3? Why do I feel differently?
Stroufy, that's an easy answer. And I know Tausch has been putting this out there as well. Chris McIntosh and Luke Fickell have acknowledged this is year one of many. There's no decisions that need to be made this year. As a Wisconsin alum, I am not worried about the long-term future because I know this is step one in the development. Do I watch Kansas and think differently at times with Lance Leipold? Maybe for a second I do. But in general, I look at this as year one. Because of Mark Murphy's absurd, this is the determining year for Jordan Love. Because they hedged their bet, which maybe looks smart to some extent now. They hedged their bet about his future. But Mark Murphy has said that they better figure out if he's good or not after 8, 9, 10 weeks. So this is the last year of Jordan Love potentially in his first year. And this is Luke Fickell's first year in his first year. That's the difference.
So expectations play a huge role. But again, like I go back to with Jordan Love, I don't know what the hell the expectations were, Evco. Right? Like, yeah, of course he's walking or he's trying to fill impossibly large shoes from Aaron Rodgers, but there's nobody around him. Nobody. Everybody's younger than me on that offense, Evan. That's an issue. And so when I look at Jordan Love, sure, he hasn't played well enough, I agree. But can we fully make the decision that, yeah, he's a stinky quarterback, it's time to move on, even though there's so many other factors playing into it?
No, well, see, this is the part that's really tough because they made this statement before the season. And I think I actually think the Packers did this right with Jordan Love, if you actually think about this. Well, no, not this year, but just theoretically. I want to rewind for a second. So I believe the best time to find a quarterback is when you want one, not when you need one. The worst time to find it is when you need one. Because when you need one, they have to be really good really quickly, and they have no time to develop. Right? At all whatsoever. Like, for example, the Detroit Lions are going to win this division running away. It's showing no signs of slowing down at all in any way, shape, or form. I believe in the first round of the draft this year, they should draft a quarterback because it's the time that they want one, not when they need one. Right? So this is where Green Bay is in an interesting spot. Let's say they finish in the top 5, top 10 of the draft, which right now seems like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And they draft a quarterback. Is it because they want one or they need one?
They need one.
But Jordan Love's under contract for another year at a pretty cheap price, is he not?
I don't think you're pulling the trigger on that unless you know he's not the guy.
In general, the Packers got it right. It's just the handoff was fumbled. And they did not necessarily believe in him as much as maybe they should have based on drafting him in the first round of the draft. And I go back and forth on this because I understand what you're saying about putting pieces around him. But what did you want them to do? Because they were going to have to overpay for pieces, right? So there's two examples of those pieces that I would say they could have overpaid for. One is in Carolina, that's Adam Thielen. The other one is in Tennessee, and that's DeAndre Hopkins. Adam's a whole separate conversation. But in order to get wide receivers to voluntarily come to Green Bay to play with an unknown in Jordan Love, you have to pay them more than someone else did or would. Like DeAndre Hopkins to play with Ryan Tannehill or now Will Levis. So that's where you're going. Let's just say you have one of those two guys. What's their record right now? Because I would argue it's the exact same.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
All right. So then what are you saying, Strouf? What did you actually want them to do? You're presenting a problem. You're not giving me a solution. What did you – rewind the clock.
Yeah.
Take yourself back to Patrick Murphy saying the ridiculous stuff that he said. What would you have liked them to have done?
I would have liked them to do something, all right? And I'm not saying go DeAndre Hopkins level, but like Julio Jones scored a touchdown yesterday for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, stop it. Come on.
No. You need somebody, right? Like, I don't think NFL locker rooms are getting
you
behind a
think
23-year-old.
Julio Jones is going to make a difference?
Sure. I think anybody would have, Evan. That's the issue, right? Like, I don't know who's still on the market. Is Cole Beasley still available? I'll take him because what we see right now is not good enough.
The Bills or somebody.
Yeah, somebody. I'm good with it.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
That's
really
how desperate I am, though. I'm desperate for. They haven't scored a touchdown in the first half, Evan, since September 17th. They don't play again until November.
I heard you earlier saying that. That is stunning, right? But I don't think anyone has come up with the solution to the offseason yet. Like, I haven't heard one person, from you to Wildy and Tausch to, obviously Rutledge and Hamilton are not going to. We know that. Idea of coming up to Kyle, to Ben, to Norman. I haven't heard anyone come up with like, all right, we're going to go back in time. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to reposition this offseason, and here's what it's going to be. Because Rodgers is gone, right? We know that. But I just don't know who they're bringing in that's going to make them so much better. Why do you look like you're so puzzled by what I'm saying? Is it because you're still hearing me double, or you're actually puzzled by what I'm saying?
No, I'm just a little puzzled because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to jump in the time machine right now, Evan, and I'm trying to think of what would be the move. And I'm thinking back to the guys that followed Rodgers to New York. And I'm not saying this changes the record dramatically, but I think you beat crappy teams like the Raiders and the Broncos have you some experience in that room. This is not a new offense. But for
so what was Lazard was what 4 for 48 or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, it was
Okay,
not
so
cheap.
let's say they went 4 for 52. Is he staying?
Probably not. I think he was gone regardless. But Randall Cobb, right? And again, I'm not saying this dramatically changes the record, but you need Mercedes Lewis, who's a million years old.
That's the one. That's the one that you probably, if you just give him a contract, like for $1 more, he may have stayed just to not have to move his family, right, during the season or whatever it is, like that kind of thing. So maybe that's the one. It's not going to change the record. I mean, they have 2 running backs that everyone thought were going to be elite level running backs, and they're not, right?
Can't stay healthy. Well, Jones can't, and Dillon can't stay on his own feet. Yeah.
They used draft, right?
Yeah.
They had 2 offensive linemen in Bakhtiari and Jenkins that most people thought, when healthy, and I know they're not, would be all-pro level linemen. So, I mean, are we looking at this and saying that they are poorly constructed or just poor health?
Both of the above. I think 2 things can be true there. I think there's plenty of blame to go around. 2 wins is unacceptable through 7 weeks.
And I'm not going to, like, this is the thing that I think people get twisted sometimes, like, holding it against good talent. Like, Matt LaFleur has proven to be pretty good in the regular season with good talent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's just not one of these guys that's good with not as good talents, right? Not everybody is. There are very few people that you can look at that are good when they have nothing and good when they have everything, right? I mean, how many coaches can you say that about in any sport? They are good with nothing and good with everything. Very few. And maybe Matt LaFleur is just one of these guys that is good with everything. That, like, hey, if you're the Chargers and you're looking for a head coach, Matt LaFleur makes sense. Huh? But if you're the Bears, Matt LaFleur makes no sense, right? Maybe he's just one of those guys, and that's okay. I don't know what he's going to be here moving forward, but it's not like this has been some impressive season for him.
No, it hasn't been impressive for anybody. 2-5 is bad. Your Patriots are what, 2-6?
Yeah, but they stink.
You over Belichick? Should Belichick be shown the door?
Shown what door? To the Hall of Fame? Yes. To come back next year? Absolutely. You're not going to find a better coach than Bill Belichick. Who are you going to hire? Like, Gerard Mayo, and this is not a knock on him, Gerard Mayo may be good, may not be good. Now, if you tell me that Mike Vrabel is going to come back to the Pats and be the head coach, that's a different story. He's a proven high-level head coach. Levis is actually what he showed yesterday, or half of what he showed yesterday. He's not running back to the Patriots. So you're not going to leave that guy. So, I mean, this. Be careful what you wish for, right? Like, there were probably Badger fans that were like, oh, Barry doesn't want to play for a championship. He just wants to play for a Big Ten title. Yeah, well, we wouldn't mind playing for Big Ten titles right now, right? As Badger fans. I mean, that's the thing. Be careful what you wish for. Brewers fans are probably, let's see what happens with Craig Counsell. Guardians, like, he can't get them over the hump. Okay, but he gets them in the playoffs every single year, right? Like, Mike Budenholzer did win a championship. Adrian Griffin, let's see. Like, again, I'm not saying any of those moves are wrong. I'm just saying be careful what you wish for in some of these moves in sports.
Very well said. Last thing on the NFL before I do want to talk a little NBA with you. With Bucks Heat tonight, big one, Game 3 of the season. Will Levis, you brought him up. Mayo in the coffee. I saw you tried it. Is it good?
Elle did on our show today. So basically, here's what happened on Unsportsman, like 5/8 and 9/8 Eastern on ESPN Madison.
Central, but yes.
What did I say? Eastern, 5/8 and 9/8 Central. Excuse me.
There you go.
So basically, what happened was she comes in this morning. She's wearing the old school Oilers throwback, which is an interesting thing in itself because it's technically a different city.
Right.
So, like, I asked them, I'm like, if you're on the Thunder, would you wear a? And they said no. And I said, well, what's the difference then?
There isn't one.
Because it's the same kind of thing when you're wearing the Titans one and the Oilers, whatever. Mm-hmm. So Will Levis famously puts mayonnaise in coffee. So she's wearing the throwback, and I said, okay, well, you're going to do this? She said, do what? I said, you got to put the mayo in the coffee. She said, oh, I'll do it. So I found mayo in the ESPN fridge, which who knows whose mayo that is. All I know is that today I saw Rex Ryan, Dan Orlovsky, Dominic Foxworth, amongst others there. So I don't know if it's any of their mayonnaise jars that were in there. So we put the mayonnaise in the coffee. I mixed it up. She drank it. I put it on my Twitter at EVCO Radio. It kind of looks like hot chocolate with marshmallow, like those mini marshmallows. Mm-hmm. Straight face the entire time, never flinched, never blinked, nothing. She's like, it tastes exactly like black coffee. And Chris Canty, former NFL player, who, by the way, almost signed with the Packers twice. Little known story. People don't know that, which I'll get to him at some point, or maybe we'll get him on ESPN Wisconsin to tell the stories. He almost vomited. and she said there was nothing to it. It just tasted like regular coffee with mayo.
Huh.
I mean, regular coffee without like any mayo taste.
That's not what I expected. And I'm a mayo guy. I dip my French fries in mayo. But
I'm fine with that too. My daughter's that way. She's 7, but you're not 7.
Well, I kind of eat like a 7-year-old. Like Hunter will tell you, I eat chicken tenders for lunch probably twice a week. Chicken tenders and mac and cheese, my go-to.
Well, I see that you're annoying in that regard. I'm going to tell you why.
Annoying.
I'm going to tell you because you don't seem like you're heavy. So
No.
it bothers me, right? So it bothers me as someone that's weight does that you can have chicken fingers and mac and cheese multiple times a week and not have a second chin. Like you deserve to have a second chin, and you don't. That actually is bothersome to me. So anyone that is a normal human being, that if they eat too much, their body will change.
Yeah.
Screw you for not being that way.
That's fair. No, that's a fair critique. But you're not a heavy guy either, Evan. But are you in the gym often? Like, what are your habits that you keep it off?
I have been heavy. I'm just on TV every day now, so I have to not be heavy as much. I mean, that's Rutledge. He'll tell you. But I run every day. I run at least 2 miles every single day.
Wow.
And I have not taken 1 day off since April 1st, 2020.
Really?
Not a single day.
That's absurd. You don't get shin splints or anything?
Not yet, but I'm sure you're wishing that upon me.
Well, that's 3.5 years, Evan. I mean, that's a long time to run every single day. You're a maniac.
But it's 2 miles. It's not like it's so much.
That's still maniacal.
You eat chicken fingers twice a week and mac and cheese.
Yeah, and I live a great life.
Yeah,
and I weigh $180.
And you're what, 6'1", 6'2"?
6'2", 6'3", yeah.
I hate you.
Feelings mutual, bro.
Wait a minute. Why do you hate me? What did I do to you?
You're coming on my show and telling me how I deserve to be fat. I deserve to be. You're telling me right now I deserve to be fat. Like, yeah,
yes.
that's a little bit rude to say to somebody.
Put it out there. Ask anyone. Where's Hunter? Can Hunter speak on this?
Because of course.
Yeah, I can.
Hunter, am I right on this? A guy who eats chicken fingers and mac and cheese multiple times a week, and he's 6'2", 6'3", 180. We should hate that. That's very annoying.
Yeah, I hate it. I'm trying to lose weight, and I have to go salads and walk every single day. I have to work so hard to do it, and Strouf is just tiny, and I hate it.
And our desks happen to be right next to each other, so he literally watches me eat these chicken tenders twice a week. So that might. So do you hate me too?
Yeah, I just wasn't ever going to say it.
Okay, no. Well, Evan's here. You have full permission. That's fine.
No, Strouf, you think that Hunter and I are in the minority on this. We're in the majority. If you walk around the ESPN Madison offices and you say, does it bother you that I eat as much as I do and as poorly as I do and I look the way I do, does it bother you? Every single person will say yes.
Well, I'm glad I'm in the heads of other people. That's like that's the narcissistic part of me coming out a little bit, Evan.
No way, you?
Egotistical part maybe a little bit.
No, you?
Never me. We had this discussion around chicken tenders. I don't know, was that a week or two ago? How old is too old to order chicken tenders at a sit-down restaurant?
It's a great question. 2 weeks ago, I'm in New York City, and I'm with members of our sales team, our national ESPN network sales team. We come out of this big meeting. And this big advertising agency that represents all these big, massive brands, and they're spending all this money all across the country. We sit down at this restaurant, and I get like a grilled chicken sandwich. Kenny Rovac was there, former manager. He gets a salad, and one of our other sales guys gets chicken fingers. And I go, how old are you? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I should not be judging that way. Good for you for getting that. I could never order it on my own. The thing that you'll learn, if God willing, one day you want to have kids and you have kids and that's your family's direction that you want to go in, you will learn you actually don't have to order chicken fingers because your kids will. You'll get your meal and the leftover chicken fingers. Price of 2, but you'll just eat 2. And that's the whole key to it all. But I think you can't order it high school and beyond. Maybe not even middle school.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me give you another reason to hate me. I did it last week. That's why it was brought up.
Like at a nice restaurant?
Yeah, I was having a cocktail, and I saw chicken tenders on the app menu, and I said, "Yeah, count me in." Ordered chicken tenders as like an appetizer, and the person I was with ordered dinner, and that was my dinner. Chicken tenders and French fries.
Think you were odd?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they thought that was a weird move.
See, that's why you'd be hated, right? Because and hated out of jealousy, just purely out of jealousy.
You being jealous of me seems like an odd direction for this episode to go, but I'll take it where I can get it, man. Speaking of
Hunter, back me up on this. Are you not jealous of Strouf for ordering chicken fingers and being capable of doing so?
Yeah, there's no way I could do it. I couldn't pull the trigger on it.
Evan is jealous of us as Milwaukee Bucks fans because we got his guy, Dame Lillard, who went 0 for 7 and 6 turnovers in the first half last night, but we won't mention that. Stop what? You know you're still mad about this as the Heat.
How could I be jealous when, as a Heat fan, been to the finals 2 of the last 4 years, Eastern Conference Finals 3 of the last 4 years, have 3 championship rings, and have been to half of the NBA Finals in the last 12 years?
How many LOBs have you won in the last 4 years?
So 4? How many all time? I mean, what are we going to do this game, really?
Well, we're not going to do all time.
You're not going to. See, here's the thing: you're not going to bait me into. I am in no way, shape, or form a Milwaukee Bucks hater. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are maybe the most underrated organization in all of sports. They have a superstar. They have amazing communication with that superstar. They're constantly willing to build and rebuild and spend around that superstar. That superstar in Giannis has found perfect running mates in Chris Lopez and Drew Holiday. They look at that team. They say, we cannot win this way again because there's too many other really good teams like Boston and like Miami when it comes to the postseason, not the regular season as much. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, let's see if we can upgrade. They do upgrade. They, in a sneaky way, build their bench a little bit with guys that people don't realize are actually pretty good, and Malik Beasley specifically. They run it back with Jay Crowder, who was actually critical of the organization a year ago, but more so the head coach. Other organizations would just say, we're on a reset a little bit. Let's bring you back because you have value. My favorite pick of the NBA draft was Andre Jackson Jr. out of UConn, second-round pick, who at some point will play well for them. They bring back Robin Lopez just to make Brook Lopez smile even more than he already does, which is a great thing. You will not get me to say a bad word about the Milwaukee Bucks. That will not happen. You will just also not get me to say a bad word about the Miami Heat.
Fair enough. You are Heat culture epitomized. You are the unofficial leader of the Heat culture bandwagon. So fair enough. How about this in-season tournament though, Evan? Can I get you to say a bad word about that? Because I'm gonna watch it. I just don't know why we're doing it.
So, are you a soccer fan?
No, not really.
Okay. So I'm not anti-soccer by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not knowledgeable about soccer in a way that maybe I should be, because this is all based on soccer. This is all based on continuous interest in the sport. The difference is, if I'm not mistaken, the midseason tournaments that soccer has in Europe are with teams and leagues that don't play each other outside of that tournament. The problem here is these teams play each other, right? It would be like before you were born, you may not realize this, but the American League and National League in baseball didn't play against each other during the regular season, right? So that would make more sense. Like, hey, let's have a midseason tournament where the AL and NL play, and we're going to have them play against each other for the 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it is a midseason tournament for fun to see something we don't normally see. This is literally to keep these guys interested in playing basketball, which is just a crazy thing that we have to come up with new rules and gimmicks to get them to actually want to do anyway. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But again, I think it will be fun because you have like a random trophy presentation before Christmas, so it's not quite the Christmas Day hype that the NBA always gets. I think the championship is what, like December 7th, December 10th, something like that.
Yeah, around there.
So yeah,
can I run a theory by you? I'm planning on bringing this up at some point over the next week. Let me try it out on you.
Please.
Okay. I think I may have possibly found a loophole in the player the PPP, whatever they're calling it here, the player performance. What in order to get people to play, the load management rules, right?
Load management, yeah.
So the whole thing is that you can't sit players when you have national TV games. You can't sit star players without an excuse for national TV games, right? So national TV games would be considered ESPN and TNT, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. If you sign a new streaming deal, every game a national TV game, more money comes into the league. If every game is deemed a national TV game, you have to play every game, and you have to have an excuse as to why you don't play every game. It doesn't solve it, but what it does is it makes you lie about injuries. Think about that for a second. Am I making sense of what I'm saying? Because ESPN
Yeah.
is a TV package, TNT does. Let's just say, what's your favorite streaming service? Let's use whatever it is.
Let's just what's Thursday Night Football on Prime? Just use Prime as the example.
Say Prime says we want to buy every single NBA game. We're going to have 15 broadcast crews.
Uh-huh.
Every single night will be all national TV all the time. There's no such thing as a regional game because we're going to have 3 broadcasts for every game, national and the 2 locals.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight's Heat Bucks will be on Bally's in both places, or whatever it's called, and Amazon Prime.
And it's a national TV game then.
And it's automatically a national TV game.
Well, we already lie about injuries.
I know, but I'm just saying
it's just going to kick it up a notch.
Do it that way.
I like it. I like the theory. I'm down for it. But again, I think we're gonna fudge injuries again, more so than we already do with.
We're doing it now.
Right, but more so than we already do, because guys like Kawhi Leonard are going to continue to do what they do.
AKA Wildy and Tausch.
AKA Wildy and Tausch, the show you have dubbed the Los Angeles Clippers of ESPN Wisconsin, yes, which was brilliant, by the way.
I mean, it's very rare you have all 3 members on it all the time. Why are you so distracted? Are you hating this? Is this painful for you? You seem very distracted.
I'm just making sure we're not running over on time. I was checking the clock in the corner. I don't think I'm distracted. I'm very much listening to you.
You're on a digital show, and who's coming up next? What are we talking about?
Okay, Evan, I'm trying to be respectful of your time, right?
So, I have a call. If you're worried about my time, yes, I wanted to go 20 minutes. Okay, I invited
You sent me an invite for 30, so I went the full 30.
Well, you didn't even invite me on. I had to beg you. If you weren't
time out.
If you weren't filling in for Jesse, I would never be on.
I got 2 bones to pick with you. And it will lead into my final question. My first bone to pick with you is what you just referenced. So this goes back to, I think, 2 weeks ago when I was filling in for Jesse Nelson on Wildy and Tausch, the producer of that show. Well-produced show when I'm on. And you said to me as I called you, you make your weekly Thursday appearance on there. You said, when am I coming on? And I said, well, we'll make that happen very soon. I wanted to kind of get into basketball season a little bit, right? I had a vision for it. I was going to ask you, don't worry. But then you go on the air, and you use that against me. You say, Strouf's booking me on another show while he's calling me on this show, even though it was your damn idea, Evan. It was your fault.
So now take that and realize, hey, if I do those kinds of bits, I'll get a national show one day, too. I steal that from someone else, and look where I am. Now maybe you steal that from me, and look where you can go.
But you already stole something from me as the last thing I have for you. You've introduced Out Unsportsmanlike with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canny, and yourself, weekday mornings, 5 to 9 on ESPN Madison. You've introduced phone tag, I believe you're dubbing it.
Yeah, but I didn't know you did it, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, I do that. I've been doing that since the inception of the show.
I had no idea you did it. Today's the first day I watched Mr.
Oh, so, well, I won't be having you back, and you hate me, so you won't be watching again, so I guess no hard feelings.
So I get to pick the next guest, though?
You get to pick a guest. I don't know that it will be the next one, but yes, this is when I give you the floor and say, Evan Cohen, thank you for your time today. Who would you like to see on Mr. Relevant with Alex Strouf?
Are there any rules and regulations?
No rules and regulations. Open to anybody.
Okay.
You just have to help me make the reach.
Oh, I got to help you?
Yeah, you got to help me book this person.
Oh, I don't like that as much then. It'd be hard for you, but if I have to help you.
It's lazy and brilliant.
Here we go.
Yep.
Matt LePay. Have you had him on?
I haven't yet. No, we need to do that.
Matt LePay. Voice of the Badgers, Matt LePay.
And he's like, is he a mentor of yours? You guys have been friends forever, right?
Yeah, so which means if I reach out to him, I could also tell him, don't go on with this guy.
I'm going to tell you not to come on with this guy anymore.
No problem.
This was awesome, dude. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Whatever. Hate you too, man. Take care. Talk to you soon. That's Evan Cohen. You can hear him on Unsportsmanlike ESPN Radio each and every weekday morning. Also watch him, ESPNU. It's terrific. It's a good show. Him, Chris Canny, Michelle Smallman, who drank coffee with mayonnaise in it today. I love that. I need to try that, but I don't know. I think I'll throw up like Chris Canny almost did because I have a very weak stomach. That's a story for another day. We'll take one last break when we come back. What Strouf learned. And Evan asked if I'm a soccer guy. We're going to talk about soccer and what Strouf learned. That's next. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf. All right, I know everybody's in the dumps when it comes to Green Bay after another loss last night, but we still get the party started 3 hours before every Green Bay game live From Green Bay this Sunday, join me, Kyle Wallace, Tori Lowe for Green Bay Game Day. Jason Wilde will join us as well as Rob Demovsky from ESPN. Leading you up to kickoff between Green Bay and the Los Angeles Rams, McVay, LaFleur. That's kind of fun. We'll preview the matchup, talk through our feelings, which are very big right now given the recent state of the Packers offense. From 9 to noon this Sunday on Green Bay Game Day, it's on 620 WTMJ, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, beginning at 9 a.m. this Sunday for Green Bay Game Day. Thanks again to Evan Cohen. Oh, that was all over the place. Got through the technical difficulties. What'd you do wrong, Hunter?
Honestly, I don't know. I wish I knew. But Ryan Wollersheim and I just started clicking buttons
and eventually it worked.
Evan was on.
All right,
so
works for me. Works for me. If you're listening to the podcast version, we're hopefully clean that up and make it sound natural. But there was technical issues earlier. If you didn't hear that. All right, time now for what Strouf learned. And what I learned is that today, October 30th, is the 30th edition, ironically, on the 30th of October, of the Sports Equinox, which means there is a game in the NFL, there is a game in the MLB World Series. There is a game, multiple games in the NBA. There is multiple games in the NHL. And I believe there is a game or multiple games in the MLS, Major League Soccer, which apparently plays in to the Sports Equinox, the 5 major sports leagues in the United States. Hunter, what I want you to do is pull up a list of every MLS team. And don't do it on the computer. I can see, please. Because I'm going to try to name as many MLS teams as I can. And I don't think I'm going to do very well. I don't even know how many teams there are. So I think I can probably name 5 or 6. And that's about as far as I'm going to get. So, Hunter, when you're ready, you let me know. And if you could tell me if it says how many teams there are, that's great. Otherwise, do you know off the top of your head how many MLS teams there are?
Last I remember, I believe it was like 28
Okay,
teams.
So there's a lot.
Yes.
All right, so I'll give you the ones I know for sure right now. I know the Seattle Sounders.
Yes.
I know the Los Angeles Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I got. I think I know a couple others, but I'm going to get them wrong, I think.
Now, being a GKB teammate, you should know another one.
Is that in New York?
No.
Or there's another one in L.A.?
There's another one in L.A.
So it's the Galaxy.
We're the home of their radio.
So there's a Galaxy and there's another team?
Yes.
Let me come back to L.A. Miami has a team because Messi plays for them now.
Yep.
Is it just Miami FC?
Inter Miami.
Inter Miami. Okay, a soccer word. Can we count that one?
Yeah.
All right. Chicago is a team. Are they the Chicago Fire? Is that right?
They are.
Nice. New York has to have a team. Colorado or Denver probably has a team. L.A., I only know the Galaxy. I didn't know there was 2 teams. Is it just Los Angeles FC or Inter Los Angeles?
It's LAFC.
Okay, yeah, okay, got it. All right, Texas or Dallas. I'm just trying to think major markets right now. Charlotte has a team, I think. Does Charlotte have a team?
No.
All right, I think this is where I give up.
Do you want me to just list off all the teams now?
Sure.
Oh, Charlotte does have a team.
Oh, Charlotte Spirit. I don't know.
It's Charlotte FC.
Oh, well, how many of them are just FC? That's boring.
It's a lot of them. That's a very European soccer thing.
Right.
When the league started, that's why you can tell what teams were like early members and what teams are newer.
Yeah.
Because like Atlanta has a team, Atlanta United.
Sure.
So
I did know that. They're
a newer one. But then the Chicago Fire, one of the teams that started it, and they actually have like a mascot name.
Okay. Yeah,
So
you don't need
weird.
to list them all. Let's just say this. Is it bad that I only know that many MLS teams?
Since you're not a soccer guy, no.
Okay.
But I think you should do better because it is a really fun league to watch. I'm a big.
Are you?
I will watch the Seattle Sounders. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Well, what we've learned is that MLS counts in the Sports Equinox, and I know nothing about the MLS. All right, more to come later this week. We're back with you Wednesday at 12:15 live, and, of course, on the podcast version as well as this Friday afternoon. We will dive into probably some more Packers thoughts as I continue to digest. I would say the first 20 minutes of that conversation with Evan Cohen, I didn't want to give him this validation, but it was kind of therapeutic. He helped me through that a little bit. And it's been therapy-ish the last 4 or so weeks, given the Green Bay Packers and the state of where they're at 2-5. So we'll do more Packers talk Wednesday. The NBA play-in tournament, or in-season tournament, rather, starts Friday. So maybe we should talk about that Friday. So we'll be back. More Wisconsin sports talk. As always, thanks for hanging out with us. Big thanks to Hunter Vaughn and Evan Cohen. As always, I'm Alex Strouf. This has been Mr. Relevant.